This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Hey, it's Ryan Seacrest. Life comes at you fast, which is why it's important to find some time to relax. A little you time. Enter Chumba Casino. With no download required, you can jump on anytime, anywhere for the chance to redeem some serious prizes. So treat yourself with Chumba Casino and play over 100 online casino-style games, all for free. Go to ChumbaCasino.com to collect your free welcome bonus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
This is your He Who Has Health Has Hope leader fan radio network.
Tweet that.
And KFAN.com. 2 minutes, 9 seconds past the hour of 3 o'clock Central Daylight Time. Welcome back. It is a Monday edition. Brand spanking new week. Well, actually, my week starts on Sunday, or is it the end of the last week? I don't know. I'll leave that for others to decide, the calendar terrorists to let me know. But we are all together again on a kind of chilly, at least a little bit sunnier than it was earlier, Monday afternoon here in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. Guardsy produces the show. My name is Dan Barreiro. We will be with you until 6:30 tonight. Power Pack broadcast with details to come regarding the guest lineup. Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line is open, 64686. I'm assuming the sound bites that you just played, Guardsy, which go back a ways, will be repeated, I'm guessing, early and often as we now prepare for the Western Conference title round, matching the foul, what's the term he used? Foul frequent? No, not foul frequent.
What did he say?
How did he put it?
Well, here, let's just listen.
Let's listen again.
It's so frustrating to play this team because they foul a ton.
They foul a ton.
You know, they really do. They foul.
So what would be the adjective?
They foul.
That we would put in front of that? Foul prone? Not sure that's the right one, but you get the point.
No, we'll think about it. So that was Finchie a while ago, maybe anticipating that they were going to meet in the conference finals? I think so.
Trying to, send the alarm bells out. I'm sure it will, if it hasn't already been brought to the attention of the Oklahoma City Thunder by Dean Blevins, it sure will be very shortly. And maybe we'll get a little back and forth, a little, shall we say, lobbying going on between the two head coaches as we prepare for Game 1 tomorrow night. All the action right here on the Fan. I love the saying, he who has health has hope. Says a lot, doesn't it?
It does.
First of all, alliterative, okay? Which it's a reminder, he who has health has hope. I mean, how many H words can you put in one saying? And it is a gentle reminder that the whole obsession that people now have with alliteration goes back a long, long, long way. You know whose quote that was?
I do not.
You know who said it first? He who has health has hope. I didn't either till I looked it up. Thomas Carlyle.
Okay.
A Scottish essayist, historian, and philosopher. Born 4 December 1795. Died 5 February 1881. That's a good run for that, going back that far.
Well, he had health.
85 years old, so maybe
he knew what he spoke of.
He appreciated it more than most. He's known as the Sage of Chelsea. His writing strongly influenced the intellectual and artistic culture of the Victorian era. What the hell does that have to do with Western Conference Finals? Well, everything. In fact, you could argue it has everything to do with all Final Four teams left in the National Basketball Association tournament. He who has health has hope. You want to list for me the number of rotation players that the New York Knicks will not have available to them in their Game 1 Wednesday night, Eastern Conference Finals.
I'm going to guess this particular Knicks club has everybody available that they need. Zero would be the number.
Indiana Pacers, their opponent. How many people do they have out of their rotation players?
I think it's also zero.
Zero. Oklahoma City Thunder. They've had an injury history, right? Chet Holmgren alone. I mean, you could do
true.
5 chapters on him alone. But right now, do they have a bunch of people hurt?
Don't believe so.
And your Minnesota Timberwolves, who will take on the Okie City Thunder as underdogs. Now official. Underdogs.
Kind of big underdogs.
Correct.
Right where we love to be.
What's our injury list right now?
Nothing.
It's non-existent, is it not? He who has health has hope. Now, I'm not here to tell you that's the only reason these are the Final Four teams in the NBA tournament, because clearly each of them has played well and deserves to be in the position that it is in. I love who better basketball philosopher is there this time of year than Day Green, Draymond, who said, look, I can get on my soapbox about how we had Steph out for most of the series, but we won a title because another team had a number of injured players. It's just part of it. It's just part of the deal at some point. I think Steve Kerr basically said the same thing. You can't have it both ways. But, I mean, go through the list. The Knicks beat the Celtics. Was it straight up? Well, not totally. Tatum gets hurt late in the series. The game in which he got hurt, I think the Knicks were probably going to win anyway, but it was still in doubt. I think it was a 6 or 9 point game at that point with about 3 minutes to go. But then he's done for the rest of the series. Got to help the Knicks, right? And Porzingis, this is an underrated part. Porzingis was pretty key at key moments last year in their run. This year, something's up. Virus. He's got some sort of mysterious affliction.
Brad Stevens talked a little bit about it today and gave some type of update. I'll try to find it.
Well, the point is, he was nowhere near the consistent performer that he was a year ago. A lot of people last year almost thought he was the X factor for the Celtics. That little something extra, okay? Pacers might have humiliated the Cavaliers regardless, but at various times in the series, Cleveland was down not 1, not 2, but 3 players. And they might have been a little too cavalier, no pun intended, with sitting those players in game 2 like, well, we don't really, it's no big deal. We're fine. And they weren't. In fact, I think we talked about it at the time. There was a time earlier in that game when they were up big and they're all laughing on the bench like, this is easy.
Right.
And I think they learned the hard way. There ain't no such thing as easy. Bottom line is, Pacers are good, maybe underrated, but much healthier than the Cleveland Cavaliers. Oklahoma City Thunder, much healthier than the Nuggets, right? 2 main players, Gordon and Porter, hobbled for sure. Gordon gutted it. They both gutted it out, but Gordon especially, he had some nice rebounds early yesterday, but he couldn't move, right? And then the Wolves take out the Warriors. Might they have taken them out even if Golden State was healthy? Yeah, I think they could have. But the fact is, Steph Curry goes down in game 1, the one game that they win, right? Ultimately, Golden State wins. And I'm guessing Jimmy Butler wasn't like 99 or 100% because he was coming off that tailbone issue. But leave him out if you want to say he's completely healthy. Warriors not having access to Steph Curry for all but one game of the series also enters into it. So the moral is health does matter, man. And that is, I don't think that's design. I think that's pure luck. It's got to be luck. I mean, God knows Tibbs runs his players into the ground,
right,
and refuses to ever play his bench. Every starter averages, I think it's like 46.5 minutes a game, and yet here they are, healthy as can be, fit as a fiddle for the next round. So luck, the cliche is true. There's probably some good. I don't know if Sir Thomas Carlyle had any, luck sayings back in the day.
Is he related to Rick, by the way, the Pacers coach?
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Descendant? Possible. We'll have to check it out.
Different spelling.
It's okay. Things changed when you came over.
Yeah, well, it's the stuffy. It's the stuffy
with the Y.
The Y Englishman from back in the day. Yeah, exactly it. Although he attended the University of Edinburgh.
Not one of my colleges, for the record.
You weren't
not
there?
Yet.
Exactly it.
Not yet.
It's almost you can look at it and it's true almost every year that you gotta be good, obviously. You have to be effective, you have to be present, but you do have to have a little bit of luck on your side. and you have to be relatively healthy, healthier than the team you're performing. And each of these teams took full advantage of that little opening as well. And that, again, probably speaks to seize the moment, because you never know if you're going to be that healthy again.
Look at the
right?
Celtics.
Exactly it.
I mean, the Celtics think they're in the middle of this multi-title run, potentially.
Now they don't even know what city they're in.
They're a second apron team, too. That's the other thing that is going to change here in the next few years. He who has room underneath the second apron.
Correct.
And still have enough good contracts are going to help. So I wonder, what is this going to mean? Because there's some people that think, well, Curry, they were running hot the whole time trying to get out of the play-in. Mm-hmm. So Steph was playing all the time. Butler was playing all the time. The Nuggets have played like 22 games in the last 32 games. Both
series went to 7.
And so could that have done? So I guess my question is, what does this do for load management during the season?
Yeah.
Do they ever change how much rest teams get in the postseason? Because that's what Gordon's talking about today. Yes. We had every other day basically for the last 4 weeks. Can you even do anything about it? I don't even know. Or has this always been a thing?
I think, and it's recency bias. Yeah. I think it's always a thing, but the importance of health in making a run is more than just recency bias. It's just true. It's got to be part of what you got, and it has to, as I said, keep you humble, because you never know when it's going to be your turn, and when the next time you're going to get just pounded over the head with a ball-peen hammer, where you're going to lose one player or 2 players, and everything, as you said, starting with Boston, is going to look different from this point forward, depending on how quickly, obviously, Tatum can come back. So. It is remarkable because, as I said, I don't even think we have. Well, I guess Ant's got some nagging injury. I'm sure every one of these players or every team that's in the Final Four still has players with nagging injuries, but none of them fall into the classification of we're missing games. We're missing significant amount of time. You've got no coincidence, 4 good teams, but 4 extremely healthy teams.
The Fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. First keyword of the week for this show is bank. Go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword bank.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Bank.
The Fan.
.612 guy writes, last year at this time, we had an injured Finchie. Speaking of injuries, this year we are talking about his sick flow. What a difference a year makes. Is that what the kids call a good hairstyle, a sick flow?
Among other things, yeah.
I like that. I didn't know that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, very nice flow.
It's not bad at all. Do we have any advantage regarding the coaching matchup in that their coach squints a lot? Our coach never squints. Have you ever seen Chris Finch just basically blink his eye at anybody?
No.
He does not.
I don't think I have.
Never. He's never blinking. He's never like looking. Because that's what
Mark Dano
does a lot.
Yes.
Right? And you remind me, apparently, Richard Pitino, who coached with him, often kids him about it, right? During games.
Yes. He was trying to figure out, does he always think this hard, basically?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's always thinking.
Finchie never squints.
No.
Looks you right in the eye.
Hayes in the barn.
Eyes are wide open with that sick flow, intimidating anybody else. No one can match his hair. We know that. Is this the ultimate battle of the wits? I think Okie City's pretty well coached.
Yes, they seem to be.
Squint or no squint.
Right. The squinting is working. They've had 65-plus victories the last few years, right? Or 60 at least.
Yeah, that's right.
Number 1 seed back-to-back seasons. It's pretty good.
It's not bad at all, is it? It's extremely good, I would say. Guest lineup today, Double T, Trent Tucker will join at 5:30. And the Baldali Llama is back on the Fan.
Excuse me?
Unfortunately, because of the fact that he's a busy man, Twins are back home tonight against the Guardians. Showdown series. Beautiful weather for baseball tonight, by the way. We had to tape it. So we taped it at about, 1:30 or so. We'll play it back. And he was on a roll. Rocco was in a great mood today.
Yeah, it was good.
Notwithstanding the winning streak being snapped yesterday, I think when you go down the way they did, basically robbed of a 2-run dong that could have, at that point, the Twins were down 4-2.
Yep, could have tied it.
It could have been 4-4. That was Royce, wasn't it?
It was.
And
nice
would have been his second dong. It's a hell of a defensive play. So I think when you lose that way, it's a little easier to accept. But we covered a range of subjects regarding the Twins and get into some baseball philosophy with the bald Dalai Lama. And that will be extended between 4:02 and towards the bottom half of the 4 o'clock hour as well. That is the guest lineup for today. Bradshaw and Bryant, KFAN text line is open at 64686. I guess, by the way, one other quick item, see if I can find it on the fly here, on Sir, what did I say his first name? Thomas Carlyle, the guy who first said, "He who has health has hope." It didn't go very well for him later, by the way.
Oh, no.
According to Wikipedia, at least, his reputation declined in the aftermaths of World War I to World War II, when his philosophy was seen as a precursor of both Prussianism and fascism. That's never good.
No
when you're
wonder you were
associated with
drawn to
those
his
two.
readings.
That's what it must be.
No wonder.
That's the Prussian in me.
Yes.
That's exactly it. So, in any case, yeah, it didn't go so well. I don't even know if that's fair to him, because that's one of those, could anybody just throw that into the Wikipedia thing and,
yeah,
you just have to deal with it? I'm not sure. But he's still recognized as one of the most enduring monuments of English literature. So he's still, Sir Thomas Carlyle still, and his, I guess you could say, his relatives still have that going for them. They can fall back on that and maybe a little less on the fascism.
He hasn't been canceled posthumously like so many.
It's possible he is.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't read deep enough into the Wikipedia, because here's the other thing. If you've got see how many pages it is, because he's in the double digits easy. Let me see how many pages. 49 pages. 45, excuse me. If you got 45 pages of Wikipedia, you must be doing, well, I don't know if you're doing something right. You're doing something notable, right? Either famous or infamous. How many people have that many pages on Wikipedia?
I wouldn't even know. Only the people that we really look up. Right?
45 pages. Hey, you know what? Speaking of hair, he had a nice head of hair.
Good flow.
Nice
little salad.
Beard, too. He's a beard guy. Yeah. That's Sir Thomas Carlyle. So we're maybe more comfortable today as Timberwolves fans in that, even though nationally before Game 7 of Okie City, Denver, there were a lot of folks on the national shows who said Wolves are the team to beat right now. Now, I don't know if they still feel that way after Okie City dominated Denver in Game 7 in pretty declarative, commanding fashion. I don't know if they feel that way or not, but the odds makers are saying, not so fast, my friend. They have Okie City as a heavy favorite's too strong a term, right? But a solid favorite.
I think it's pretty substantial.
Is it heavy?
Yeah.
So we've talked about it. The Wolves prefer being the little engine. I certainly believed, and I think they knew, they were in the position, the Golden State Series, where they were favored. And then once Steph went down, it was even more incumbent upon them to not fall, prey to we got cocky about it. We prefer to be the underdog, because they weren't going to be the underdog in that series. And they ultimately handled it, right? They ended the series pretty fast in 5 games. So now maybe this is better for them. Maybe this is better for Finchy. They can go back to nobody believed in us, or a lot of people don't believe in us. Okie City has got home court, and they are favored in the series. And again, they recovered nicely from some hiccups earlier in the series, really as recently as Game 6, with a tremendous performance against Denver and a Joker who looked more resigned during the game than I've ever seen Joker look, I have to say. And I'm going to credit a lot of that to their defense. I really am. We've talked about how they have the best defense in basketball. Period. End of story. There's no question about that. The question is, can they do enough offensively? But their defense and on Joker, it was, I mean, they're using the little guy. They're using guys who...
Alex Caruso,
who weighs like about 100 pounds less.
With the headband.
And then he would kind of funnel him towards getting help from one of the big men. But how many shots Joker ended up with was it 9 shots? Now he sat in the fourth quarter when they conceded, but he was not an offensive factor at all. I think he was beaten down by the fact that, well, if I get the ball to the open man, chances are they're going to miss the shot. And that's a problem. But I think some of it was the relentlessness with which Okie City went after him. We saw that defense at its best at times, especially starting with late first quarter into late second quarter, and then it was a bloodbath after that. And I'm assuming Finchie has already had the talk and will continue to pound away at the obvious, which is, I think Denver had over 20 turnovers.
22. You cannot turn the ball over.
You have to tighten up. Now, you're going to turn it over against them some because their defense is good, but you have to keep that to a minimum. I look at this series, for me, the matchup on both ends, the key to how this is going to go is pretty simple. It's what either team does against the other in the half court. In other words, what the Okie City offense does against the Wolves half-court defense, and even more importantly, what the Wolves are able to sustain when they can't run and are playing their half-court offense against Okie City. To me, that's going to be which team can, because I think both teams are going to look inept a lot offensively. I really do. I think there's a good chance of that. Can you be inept a little less than the other team? Can you carve out at key moments a 5-minute stretch where you execute better and you score better, a little bit better than them? And again, you can't turn the ball over 22, whatever number it is. We can't turn the ball over like we did, for example, even in the victory in Game 5 against Golden State, the elimination.
And you have to know that they understand that and know that, right?
Yes. It's just, can they do something?
I would think they can. Really, the big question is who brings the ball up the court if it's not Mike Conley, right? A lot of worries about Dante and Nikhil doing that.
Yes.
But I heard someone say Nas bringing the ball to court. Do not do that.
No.
Thank you. Thank you for immediately shutting that off.
No.
But Randall can. Randall could, depending on who's guarding him.
Yeah, but he's got to be careful because he sometimes dribbles into double teams.
He gets a little loose, too. Yeah. But that's going to be because those guys are all like pit bulls, all of them, from Caruso on down. You know, the one, Jalen Williams,
there's no question.
He's a great defender as well, does a good job on Anthony. Those are the ones you just have to just be tight the whole time. And they are going to get theirs for sure, but they can't have these flurries of 3 or 4 minutes where you're kicking it all over the gym.
That's exactly it. We had Alan Horton on again yesterday. One of the things we talked about, and this was obviously before Okie City, Denver. By the way, I picked Denver to win. I also picked the Celtics to extend the Eastern Conference semifinal series to 7. How'd that work out in both cases?
Stay hot.
2 of the worst predictions I've made in recent memory. I'm embarrassed by both of them, but I'm more embarrassed for the teams than I am for me because
you believed in them.
I expected more, at least. I expect, especially from Boston. Honestly, it was almost from the jump in Boston's case. It was like, well, you know what? We didn't let them eliminate us at home, so we're fine. That's how it looked. It looked like, well, if they can go ahead and beat us by 30 or 40 or 50, whatever it is. But at least it didn't happen on our court, man. You know, we protected home court. Big deal. I still believe that the Wolves' greatest strength is, how do I explain it best? Versatility is such an overused word, but I look at the Wolves as not being as great in certain areas as several of these other teams, but they're very good in more areas, I think, when they're playing their best than anybody. That to me is their strength. You look at offense, defense efficiency. They're not number 1 in defense. They're top 10 in both, though. The idea that there is, they may not be great at either, but they're pretty good and they're pretty versatile in that regard. The fact that, to me, their number 1 strength is the number of wing defenders they have. That I think against an Okie City offense that I still don't completely trust, to be honest.
Right.
I think, just like the Okie City, they've got a lot of people who can guard, man. They also do that. very effectively. But I think the Wolves have enough of that, too, where they're going to make a not great offense look, if they're playing right, look even worse. When you can put that many different players on and even mix and match, it's not like we only got one guy who can handle Shea, for example, or one guy who can handle Jason Williams. Jalen. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's a throwback. So they have, I think, they can throw multiple bodies at people and not necessarily have those people get embarrassed. In fact, some of them, I think, can do very well. We know they can play big, the Wolves. They can play small. Okie City, for a while, went really small. They took both of their big men out, and that's when they put Caruso at center, or in terms of attempting to guard Joker. But the Wolves can also do that. I think they're versatile enough. They can play small, and they obviously can play bigger as well. And sometimes if you do not have what I would classify as a super team, because I don't think any of these four teams, to me, are super teams. Maybe I'll regret saying it because Okie City did win 68 games in regular season. But sometimes it's enough to just be really good in a lot of different areas where it's like there are too many teams, as you know, where it's like, well, they can only win one way.
Right.
There's only one thing they can do. If that doesn't work for them, they're doomed. I think the Wolves and I think Finchie has a lot of different ways he has learned he can go, even in terms of the combinations of players that he uses. I believe that's the Wolves' greatest strength.
Well, with these four teams, no, there's no super teams. And I don't think, because when I think super team, I think at least two all-timers, right?
Right.
And all these, especially these younger teams, have time to become all-timers. But even on potential, most of these teams have one. And I even wonder if it just came down to battle of the second option, not to go is Austin Reeves the best third option in the NBA conversation, but battle of the second option so far this season, or this postseason, the Wolves would have had to have won that, right? With the way Randall has played consistently. And Williams was good yesterday, but he was not good in the middle of this last series against Denver. And that was part of the reason why Denver, I think, was able to extend it to 7, even though they maybe didn't have any business doing it.
Well, to your point, this is a key deal. Now, what the Wolves fans have to worry about is whether Jalen, found himself or rediscovered who he was, because he was a great regular season player. But before game 7, in which he was 10 for 17, he dominated the second quarter when they took over. Look at his field goal numbers prior: 3 for 16, 5 for 14, 2 for 13, then 11 for 21. That was a game they lost in OT to Denver. 6 for 11, 5 for 20. So in the conference semis, he averaged missing 10 out of 16 shots. He was not consistently good, and he is their second option. Julius Randle, during the postseason, has hit 51. He's been very efficient offensively. He's over 50% shooting. I think he's at 51% shooting. So, yeah, the Wolves should feel good about that unless Jalen figured something out.
Right.
And he might be too good a player to continue to shoot as poorly as he did through much of the Denver series. You have to have what Denver didn't, and this is the other thing. We're not like a dead-eye shooting team.
Not consistently.
We're streaky.
Streaky.
We're capable of, let me back up. I guess our three-point shooting actually was among the best percentage-wise in the league, was it
but
not?
I feel like that would come in bunches, and then it would evaporate.
It would evaporate. And that's ultimately what doomed Denver, is that they just couldn't get enough people to just hit open shots, because in that case, they were, unlike the Wolves' approach, they doubled Joker a lot. Wolves tend to not do that. Point is, they had openings, and of course, if it's Westbrook shooting it, who cares? And so he'd hit a couple, but then he'd miss 7 in a row.
Christian Brown
turned the ball over. He started great, Brown did, and then he kind of fizzled out after that. So you obviously you have to have some people hit some open shots. But Okie City was not revelatory offensively against a not great Denver defense. Denver, in crunch time, I think summoned up the best they could offer defensively, and at times would be okay. But overall, they're not a shutdown, clamp down defensive team at this point. And even against that, Okie City's offense was very up and down. So that to me is going to tell a lot of the story.
It's kind of similar to the Wolves players. If those role players are hitting their open threes, it's a long series or a long game for anybody because you're going to spend so much time, and here's one of my favorite words, bandwidth, on Shea.
Yeah.
And so Denver was basically trying to get the ball out of Shea's hands, and I think for the most part he didn't force it very much the whole series, right?
Correct.
If those guys, it's just like, game one of the Lakers series when the Wolves, how many threes did they hit? Like 30 out of 40? It was just absurd. Everybody was making threes. Well, they're going to run anybody out of the gym. Oklahoma City's the same way. If you're okay living with some of these quote unquote lesser players, role players, getting open looks, that's kind of where you have to live against OKC. And they were very up and down through 7 games. That's why Denver, with a very limited team, with multiple injuries, and not a lot of guys that can make a lot happen besides Joker, was able to stretch them to 7 and make them look kind of foolish at times doing it.
Exactly right. Okie City writes, 763 guy will blow out the Wolves in at least 2 of the games. Wolves will blow out OKC in at least 1. The series will be decided in those other 4 games. Well, that may well be the case because we're seeing a remarkable number of blowouts so far, I think, where you're looking up and they're down 40. How's that even possible in the playoffs? But I think we're going to talk about this with Trent Tucker. I don't know who brought this up, if it was Horton, somebody else, that the lesson might have even been Mike Conley. The lesson from the conference finals a year ago, among the lessons that needs to be learned, the biggest one, the most crucial one might be you can't blow off any games.
Especially early. That was Conley.
Early. Yeah, that was Conley.
Yep.
It's you have to value the opportunity. You can't just say, it's best of 7. They still got to win 3 more. We can come back. Now, you don't want to panic, obviously, because the series isn't over in a best of 7 in game 1, but it can be over if you blow your opportunity. If the game is sitting there for you, especially one could say when you're starting on the road, you can't ease into this series. And I fully believe Oklahoma City is the kind of team, especially that if you do try to ease into it, they will blow you out.
Yeah.
You'll lose by 30. It won't even be close. So you can't mosey your way in. Doesn't mean you're obligated, that you're guaranteed to win, but because they're good and they're going to be at home, and I assume they're going to be psyched up as well for all the obvious reasons. But I don't think you can't saunter into game 1 like, okay, let me just kind of get the feel of the game. You have to hit the ground running.
I would think that is what they learned from a year ago, though. I really...
Yeah, games 1 or 2 and 1 and 2 are there.
1, and I know 2 was 2. Obviously, that was the Luka dagger shot. But 1, if you remember, just had this strange, bizarre energy the whole night.
Yes.
And the Wolves they led most of games 1 and 2. But they could just never deliver that knockout punch. But it just, the energy just felt off. I was in the building for game 1, not game 2. It felt just completely off the whole night, like they just couldn't find that extra gear. Right. Some of that might have been because of the 7-game series against Denver, and then you play 2 days later, whatever it is. But if you're hoping that experience is a teacher from what they had a year ago, you would think they all understand the urgency of tomorrow night. Not necessarily you're guaranteed to win it, like you said, but you can't just roll the ball out and go, all right, you guys just came off a tough series, so you're probably going to be tired. These young bucks from OKC, I think they're going to be fine. They're going to be ready to go tomorrow night.
Here is one thing that I hope Wolves fans have picked up on this already, because we're a big, we're a big validation town. We this. You're one of us. I'm not, but I've certainly picked up on it. And here's one thing you're not hearing. At least I'm not very much nationally. You can tell me if you've heard something different. I'm not hearing like, oh, yeah, okay. Wolves, Oklahoma City. Okay, great, I guess. I don't know. Neither team's won titles. Yeah, they're kind of a nice team, but I'm not hearing that at all. I'm hearing, now you're going to hear a few people do the old, the NBA would rather have, of course, they got New York in there in the East, but they probably want bigger markets. But I'm not even hearing that much. I'm hearing these probably are the 2 best teams in the conference. I'm hearing this is a nice matchup. I'm hearing I want to see how these 2 defenses do. The Wolves Doberman defense and the Oklahoma City defense, I want to see how the offenses react. This is a really nice matchup against 2 very good ensemble teams that have a couple stars.
Right.
But we don't have to do the poor, pitiful us routine other than being underdogs from the odds maker standpoint. But I've not heard anybody do the old, guys, this is the best the NBA West can do. And I don't know. Okay, I guess I'm kind of lukewarm. I haven't heard anything lukewarm.
No.
Nationally, I'm talking about in terms of the matchup.
No, and people, obviously, you've got the MVP, which still hasn't been announced yet, which people are a little flummoxed by, that they have still not yet awarded Shea with the MVP.
Well, you know that do you want to go conspiracy on that?
Do they want to motivate Joker?
No, maybe that, but now they're waiting. Like if the Wolves win game 1, then they make the announcement to try to give Okie City a little extra juice to get right back in the series, a little inspiration.
Did you see? And I think you're on board with this. I don't love this, but did you see that they're doing the same thing that the Pistons did for Knicks fans that wanted to go to Detroit, where they're like limiting geographically?
That's what I was going to ask you.
The tickets.
Is that? I thought everybody did that.
No, not everybody does that.
But
no.
And that's not a function of the particular ticket site. It's a function of...
that's most teams sell through their own app and website now. So the team decides whether or not...
So the Wolves don't do that.
They do not.
They do not look for zip codes or anything.
I don't think so. No.
I was ready to go off on it, but I wanted to be sure.
People can correct me.
I didn't want to get too high and mighty about it until because I thought a lot of teams in a lot of sports do this more than we all want to think.
It's possible.
We just don't pay much attention to it.
It's possible, but I remember we talked about it briefly when Detroit did it for the Knicks fans.
Yes.
I'd be stunned if Minnesota did it. I don't think they do. I'm almost positive that they don't. I don't want to go 100% because I'm not 100%, but I'm like 98% sure that they don't, because there's always fans from other teams bopping around here. And I know Minneapolis is a big city and all that, but I don't love that. And I understand
I hate it. I hate it.
Oh, do you?
I'm with you.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Oh,
I thought when we talked about it for Detroit, you said you understood it. Maybe I misunderstood you.
It's very possible, but my recollection is that's not something I would like. If I couched my criticism, it would be, well, the truth is you can get on your high horse on it, but a lot of teams do it.
All right.
That might have been the only condition I put on it. I don't remember saying I liked it.
Okay. I don't think you said you liked it.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting because I get the argument for it because there's a bunch of people that just have tickets that just want to have them and resell them and jack the price
up. That's it. Yeah, that's what I thought the comeback to
That's one of the comebacks. But it's also, and so the prices for this, like if you're in Oklahoma City or in one of the surrounding states and you want to go, the get-in price is fairly reasonable, whereas the ones for Indiana and the Knicks are like, $600-700 get-in price, which is a lot, obviously. So it's going to be a lot of Oklahoma City fans tomorrow night, I guess is my point, because it's difficult for opposing fans.
Does this mean you're not going?
Not with tickets.
Oh, flat tickets.
But not for games 1 and 2.
Not for 1 or 2. You're going to wait it out a little bit.
I'll be here this week.
All right, let's do this. Let's take a quick pause. Got a couple of other NBA nuggets to bring to your attention and to the listeners' attention as well. And don't forget, we'll chat baseball. Yes, I think it's okay to every once in a while these days. Twins are back in town. Big homestand starting tonight against Cleveland, weather permitting. And we chatted right before the show with the manager of the club, and we will give you that interview between 4 and about 4:35 or 4:40 or so, because he was going long, man, and we were letting him go. Rocco will join at 4, and then Double T, Trent Tucker at 5. I'm probably in the minority on this part of the debate regarding the possibility of the other team's fans invading your home arena, your home gym, your home rink, your home stadium. But I actually believe that if you have because usually it's going to be a fairly small contingent, but a contingent of fans, often I don't think it's not even sitting together, right? You get seats wherever you can get them. I think it adds to the atmosphere. I really do. I don't think the idea that teams would be threatened by that is so small, I think, and rather insecure and embarrassing. And so I don't know if we have the entire story in the Okie City procedure, again, how different it is, but whether it's widespread or rare, I don't like it at all. I don't, because it's not like people are going to come away with, wow, is this like a neutral site?
Right. Not in game 1 of the Western Conference Finals.
What are we talking about here? In all seriousness, it's not like anybody's going to be confused by it. I know Okie City, they pride themselves on, the support they give, right?
Yeah.
And that home ice advantage, whatever the case may be, whatever you want to call it. But it's not going to go away if you have a few fans with Nas Reed jerseys in there. And again, I think it actually, to a certain extent, adds to the atmosphere if you got a little bit of that. What it reminds you of, especially now, again, this is me as someone who does not have a rooting interest in either team. I'll grant, but to me, when there's a small contingent of the other fans, this certainly happened in Boston with the Knicks for a few games, and I don't know how many people were there, but when the road team wins, you were there for Game 7 last year.
I was
against Denver. It's a compelling part of the piece of the story, is what it is. But I guess if you're the Ski-U-Mah hometown guy, or it's your team, then you're embarrassed by it. You shouldn't be embarrassed by it. The other team won, and people who are invested in the other team found a way to get there, and they cheered. It doesn't mean that the home court advantage is evaporated from that point forward. You know what I'm saying? I do. There's way too much, I think. There's way too much insecurity. Now, is it you want to be annoyed that, well, then I thought if you're a true fan, you telling me basically you're going to just sell your ticket at the moment where your team's making a championship run, you'd rather get the extra money? Do I love that? No, I guess if I was running a team, I wouldn't. But I wouldn't be that worried about it because I just don't think it's widespread enough. Well, other than, I guess, Vikings fans selling their tickets to Packers fans.
It happens.
That it should be something that we have to have a congressional investigation over. I mean, I don't know if that makes sense. I just don't. And as I mentioned, I love those shots of the other team, even whether they're winning or losing. The other, fans of the other team showing a unique form of enthusiasm, right? Because they know there's like 18 of them in the building, or 500 of them in a building of 17,000 or 18,000. That, to me, that just adds to it. I don't need the cult. I don't. I don't. And I don't need this sense of we're all dressed exactly the same. We all cheered exactly the same time. Dope-de-do. We're all in unison and all. That does nothing for me. And believe me, I grew up cheering. I grew up in Chicago Stadium, the balcony, cheering for the Chicago Bulls. I couldn't get into a Blackhawks game, not because I wasn't already a hockey ambassador, because you couldn't get tickets. But you could get tickets to the Bulls. And there was plenty of cheering, but we weren't automatons. We didn't feel like we have to get up at the same moment. We'll have to be chanting the same thing. We're all going to be saying the same thing.
Wearing the same shirt.
Wearing the same, so robotic. And in Okie City, it strikes me as the most robotic of all.
There's no doubt.
Regard.
They do it every game.
Yes.
All sales to this event will be restricted to residents of Oklahoma, Kansas, Arkansas, Missouri, and Nebraska. Residency will be based on credit card billing address. Orders by residents outside Oklahoma, Kansas, Arkansas, Missouri, and Nebraska will be canceled.
We don't do this.
Without notice and refunds given. We do not do that.
Did you double check?
Yeah, we do not.
Okay, you want to be sure?
I'm sure.
Credible sources?
I just looked.
Okay.
You can buy them from anywhere. Yeah.
You mean the Wolves, at the Wolves site?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They don't check for any. Oh, wait a minute now. Looks to me like you're from Oklahoma City.
If Josh Broughton wanted to hop on a plane for Game 3 Saturday night and buy tickets today, he could do it. And come in from Mount Helix, he could do it.
I want Euro-style away sections. What's a Euro-style away section look like? Is it violent?
I would imagine it's just a section that's only available to opposing fans.
I got no problem with that either.
A lot of college football,
not realistic.
I mean, college football, that's what you have.
I mean, I know the danger is if your team is terrible, you run the risk of it becoming embarrassing. You have no home court advantage, right? But that's not going to happen in the NBA playoffs when you're down to 8 teams or 4 teams, right? In all seriousness, is it?
No,
it's not going to happen because these, by definition, by the fact that they're advancing in the playoffs, these are good teams.
Exactly.
Home fans want to see that team.
I'd also add there were a lot of Wolves fans at Game 7 last year and games 1 and 2, I'm sure.
Yes.
And Game 5. I was at 5 and 7. There were a ton of Wolves fans. Obviously, Denver's a big Minneapolis, transplant city. It's super easy to get there. But they didn't take over the stadium until the last 5 minutes.
That's what I was going to say. What
and then
happens
they leave.
is the regular fans leave,
yes,
and then the visiting fans who are celebrating, they gravitate towards the court, right? And then that's when it feels like there's a bunch of them, just because everybody else has left.
That's exactly right.
That's it.
And so it was a great atmosphere on every level. And the Wolves fans that were there, that found their way there, that live in the area, that got tickets, it was all good.
All right. Well, I'm getting a couple of people saying they think the Wolves, they have their own method of doing this too. And we're saying we don't.
Not geographically. They have limitations on how many tickets you can buy for each game.
And that has to, but that's, the sense on that is that has more to do with then we don't want brokers.
Correct.
To take over the market
exactly
and dramatically change the market.
Exactly,
right?
Yes.
So that's a different impetus, a different rationale than what we're talking about here.
Yeah, this is literally, if you're not in Thunder Country, you're not coming to the game. If you're not a part of Thunder Nation and our 5-state area, whatever that is, you're not coming.
So do you care if, let's say, the Wolves buy a bunch of tickets a la Vikings and ship a bunch of fans to OKC?
I don't think they could do
Mike
that.
and Chaska. Well, that's what the Clippers guy did, didn't he?
Steve Ballmer?
Didn't Ballmer do that? He did do that, remember?
Yeah, he did.
He did.
For Game 7. How did he do that?
I think it was like 100. I want to say it was like 100, maybe with a couple hundred tickets. That's a good question. How did he do it?
I'm going to have to look into it. Maybe the owner has different rules. Maybe, but I wouldn't think, or maybe he just gave the team tickets away. Because teams get a certain number of tickets, obviously, for family and employees and things like that.
We'll get to Karl Anthony Towns later. What time is Guardsy's apology to him? He seemed very down on him early in the series. He was huge in the decisive game, especially early. But we'll save that for later. Let's talk some baseball. It's okay to talk baseball, I think, a little bit now. And we caught up with Twins manager Rocco Baldelli just before the show. We'll play back that outstanding interview next here in the.
Okay, have you heard about this? Last year, Degree changed the formula for their Cool Rush deodorant. Their fans rebelled and wanted the old scent back. And Degree listened. That doesn't happen often.
They admitted that they effed up and are bringing the original Cool Rush scent back. And it's exactly how you remember it. Cool, crisp, and fresh. There's a reason it's the #1 men's antiperspirant. And it's back in Walmart, Target, and other stores for under $4.
So try it and see what the fuss is about. Head to your local stores to try the OG Cool Rush for yourself.